A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. The birth and infancy of Jesus, the ancestry of Jesus, chapter 1. Roll of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, son of David, son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers, Judah the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar, Perez the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, Ram the father of Aminadab, Aminadab the father of Nahshon, Nahshon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, Boaz the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife, Solomon the father of Rehoboam, Rehoboam the father of Abijah, Abijah the father of Asa, Asa the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, Joram the father of Uzziah, Uzziah the father of Jotham, Jotham the father of Ahaz, Ahaz the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah the father of Manasseh, Manasseh the father of Ammon, Ammon the father of Josiah, and Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers. Then the deportation to Babylon took place. After the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abiud, Abiud the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok the father of Achim, Achim the father of Eliud, Eliud the father of Eleazar, Eleazar the father of Mathan, Mathan the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. Of her was born Jesus, who is called the Messiah. Therefore, all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations, 14 from David to the Babylonian deportation, and from the Babylonian deportation to the Messiah, 14 generations. Joseph adopts Jesus as his son. The birth of Jesus the Messiah happened like this. His mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, but before they came to live together, she was found to be with child through the Holy Spirit. Her husband, Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to disgrace, decided to dismiss her quietly. He had this in mind when suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. Look, the virgin is with child and will give birth to a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph woke from sleep, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took her as his wife. He had not had intercourse with her when she gave birth to a son, and he named him Jesus. The word of the Lord. A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2. The visit of the wise men. After Jesus had been born at Bethlehem in Judea during the time of King Herod, suddenly some wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child born King of the Jews? For we saw his star at its rising and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was perturbed, and the whole of Jerusalem with him. He called together all the chief priests and the scribes of the people and inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "At Bethlehem in Judea, for this is what was written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, you are by no means the least among the leaders of Judah, for from you will come a leader who will shepherd my people, Israel." Then Herod secretly summoned the wise men and made certain from them the exact time when the star had appeared, and sent them on to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and find out accurately about the child, and when you have found him, report back to me, so that I too may go to worship him." When they had heard the king, they set out. And see, the star they had seen at its rising went before them until it halted over the place where the child was. Seeing the star, they rejoiced with very great joy, and going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and falling down, they worshipped him. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. But having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their own country by a different way. The flight into Egypt and the massacre of the innocents. After they had left, see, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, flee into Egypt, and stay there until I tell you, for Herod intends to search for the child to destroy him." So Joseph got up and, taking the child and his mother by night, left for Egypt and stayed there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what had been spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, "I called my son out of Egypt." Then Herod, seeing that he had been fooled by the wise men, was furious, and sent and killed in Bethlehem and its surrounding district all the male children who were 2 years old or less, according to the time he had been careful to ask the wise men. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, lamenting and much weeping, Rachel weeping for her children, and she would not be comforted because they are no more. Return to Nazareth. When Herod had died, see, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who were seeking the child's life are dead." So Joseph got up, and taking the child and his mother, went to the land of Israel. But when he learned that Archelaus was king of Judea in place of his father, Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the region of Galilee. There he settled in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets should be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene. The word of the Lord.